the presentation and the discussion and the questions are really what it is all about in terms of securing the payment data. And that is that the criminals are looking to monetize data. They're looking to monetize any data they can, anyhow they can. And the comments are absolutely correct. We have to tackle it in every which way we can. Securing payments is a global challenge. I was here yesterday and saw some fantastic presentations about how payments are changing here in Russia, and it's really exciting. And they are very similar to how payments are changing in different parts of the world. But as we change, so do the criminals. The criminals are now global criminals. They can sit anywhere in the world and attack us. They don't care whether you are operating here in Russia or here in the UK or in America. They just want that data. And how do we know that? Well, each year the World Economic Forum produces a report. And in that report, they list their top 5 global risks. The things that the World Economic Forum are most afraid of. And when you look at that top 5, 3 are to do with climate. Okay. The other 2 are absolutely what this is all about. Cyber attacks and data fraud or theft. Everybody knows we're under cyber attack. Everybody knows that we have to focus on improving our security and improving our techniques. And it is, however we deal with data, we have to get that right. And that is where the PCI Security Standards Council comes in. We're a global standards body. We develop global standards that help protect payment data throughout any payment channel. And we do that by bringing together experts from around the world. I am really pleased that from within Russia, we have had the NSPK through the MIA team join PCI as one of our affiliate members, and their technical experts are helping PCI write our standards. Your knowledge of cryptography, your knowledge of payments in Russia means that we get expert help and expert support in writing our standards, because what we want is our standards to be appropriate and relevant everywhere in the world. There is only one version of the standards, and that is a global version. But there are more than one standard. People know us mainly for our PCI DSS standard, but we have a range of standards throughout the transaction process. Wherever card data goes, however it goes, we have a process in place. When you look at the chart there, every phase and every part has a standard associated with it apart from one, and that's the consumer. We do not place expectations on the consumer. We place expectations on everybody else in this room so that the consumer can have confidence that you are going to look after their data, that you are going to make it possible that if they want to buy online, the goods will arrive online. If they want to buy face-to-face, that will work just as efficiently. And our standards are there to help that happen. But our standards, just like security, don't stand still. One of the things that we have seen in the last 3 or 4 years is the change of how the criminals are attacking us. And these first presentations today gave a good indication that the criminals are always looking for a new way to get at data. And so we have to change our standards to keep up to date with those attack techniques, but also up to date with the new ways we're doing payments. And as I said, yesterday was really exciting. We're getting new payments in the mobile space. We heard from your central bank that you're wanting to improve the capability of very small merchants to be able to accept payments. And so we need to be able to provide a process for them to be able to do that in a secure way. And I'll talk about that in a little while. So when you look at our wall of 14 different standards throughout the payment lifecycle, I'd like to go into a little bit more detail of what's been happening. But before I do, one of the things I will make clear is that whenever we do any changes to our standards, whenever we do any updates, we always reach out to everybody. We always listen to our global community to make sure that our standards are going in the right direction. And so we always have what we call RFC, request for comment periods, on any of our new standards, on any of our standards updates. So you can read the standard and you can comment and say, actually, that bit's not quite right, or yes, that's really good. And that ensures for us that our standards remain a global standard that everybody can use to improve payment security. So here is the list of standards that are going to be going through for comment. And you can see we've got a very busy year ahead of us because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different standards that we're updating this year that are going to go through for comment. And some of those are quite significant changes that I'll go into a little bit more detail. So PCI Data Security Standard, been around since 2006. It is a mature standard. We were really happy, but then everyone decided new technology would come along and we started moving things into the cloud. We started moving payments into mobile space. We started using data in a different way. And suddenly we were looking at the PCI DSS and thinking, is this still fit for purpose? And this is the big question that we're asking ourselves now. We need PCI DSS to be the core standard for protecting payments. But payments are changing. So we've started our development. We've started looking at how do we do this? How do we want to ensure that the standard fits in all different types of merchants, in all different ways of doing business? And it is gone from being a good fit to being a little less of a good fit. So we need to get it back to being a good fit, which means we need to change how we word some of the requirements. We need to change how we approach the assessment, how we approach the development. And so we've started doing the development, as I've said. Thank you, NSPK. You're in there helping us do that. Our first request for comment on this new standard is scheduled for October this year. Do please review it. Do give us our comments. We'll then go through that. We'll review all of the comments, and then we'll go through in the second round and then a third round. It's such a big change, this one, that we're not anticipating to release it until the end of 2020. We need to get this one right because we need it to be ready to keep everyone secure going through the next 5 and 10 years. So this is quite a big change that's coming through the council. It's going to need the flexibility of your new payment programs. It's going to promote security. It's going to enhance all of the validation methods and procedures. It's going to be a really rock-solid standard still. Another change that we have been made, and we introduced these 2 new standards at the start of this year, was how we evaluated software. Again, our PADSS started in about 2006, and it was okay. But as more and more software moved to apps, moved to wallets, moved to mobile, we were looking at this going, we're a bad fit again. And so we sat down with the industry and came up with 2 new ways of doing this. The first thing is we know software changes. We know software, when we first wrote our PADSS, software applications were being written that we knew would be out in the field for maybe 3 or 4 years. And they would only get an annual update. Now we're lucky if software is out there for 6 months. And it's going to get updated every week. So our process for evaluating and approving software has got to be able to cope with that. It's no good us needing 6 months to approve software if it's only going to be used for a weekend at a gala or an event. So first things first, the software security standard looked at how we are evaluating and developing software in a secure manner. And that was a significant improvement. The second thing, the software security lifecycle, looks at how we do the assessment. Historically, we would send it into one of our evaluation facilities and they would evaluate it. Too slow. We're now looking to see if we can work with the software developers to get them to show us how they do their auditing how they do their review, how they do their own quality control, so we can then recognize that and then go, okay, we can approve your process. Now, when you do a change, you let us know that you've done a change and you've done it according to this agreed set of steps. This is going to be quicker. This is going to be easier. This is going to ensure that as a merchant, your software is approved and is going to give the best level of security for however long you need it. So as I said, software security, lifecycle, and validation. Those are the three key elements of the new software program. Behind that is actually the program. And the program is what we're developing now to be able to cope with this new process. So we've got the standards out there. People can start developing this. By the end of this year, we'll have all the new program in place so we can start doing what I've just said. And doing what I've just said is always the important part. We want to make sure we achieve this. This will have an impact on our PADSS. Our PADSS program will gradually get consumed into the software security process. We will stop accepting new submissions of PADSS about mid-2021, and then by the end of 2022, we will expire them. So there will be a move from PADSS towards software security. If you're still using PADSS today, great, continue with it, it'll do the job. But going forward, we're going to move to software security. Another new program that's come along because of what our markets want around the world, and having been in the room yesterday and listened to the Central Bank of Russia talk about the small merchants, this is really coming into what is going to help them. So basically, this is a way of enabling a merchant to accept card-based payments through their mobile phone. It's going to connect a secure card reader in a secure way to the merchant device, the merchant mobile phone. We call it COTS because it could be a phone, it could be a tablet. On that tablet or phone is going to be an application, and that application is going to be the secure interface between the secure card reader and the back-end environment. That is the process that's going to securely enable the PIN entry to be made. It's going to send that to the secure card reader, encrypt that data, and send it to the back-end system. Once it goes through the back-end system, it's going to go into the bank as a normal transaction. Sounds complicated. For the small merchant, it will be easy. They'll basically switch it on, click on the app button, it will process it, enable them to enter the amount, they'll put the card in the card reader, the customer will enter their PIN, and away it goes. It's a fast, efficient, cheap way of expanding acceptability. This isn't going to replace the point of sale devices, all those fantastic devices we've approved outside in the main hall. This is more options. This is expanding the range of accepting cards into different areas. This is going to enable your small merchants, your micro merchants, to be able to do what everybody else does, accept card-based payments, away from a fixed location as well. This enables them to come to your home, fix the repair in your water pipes, and then take the payment for it. As well as that, we're going to be bringing in an annex, so for those areas in the world that do not still accept chip cards, we'll be able to do this with a magstripe card. This is an important step of, as I said, spreading and widening acceptance. But as we also heard yesterday, the world is moving to contactless. We are seeing fantastic growth in contactless transactions around the world, and it's just as the same here in Russia as it is in the UK. And so we need to be able to have a process that enables us to accept contactless transactions using a mobile phone, and therefore we're now developing our contactless or CPOC standard. Same process enables the merchant to accept a contactless payment through their mobile device with excellent levels of security, with good confidence that this is going to go through in a secure way, enabling more transactions to be undertaken. Other things that we're updating, the PIN security standard. The PIN security is the bedrock of all our cryptography. We've had to update that because things are changing in that regard. We're also introducing a new qualified PIN assessor program to enable assessment of those entities that undertake PIN security. Again, is a way of ensuring the secure management and use of PINs throughout that transaction lifecycle. Will also ensure the key management processes are correct. And that feeds into everything I've just talking about there, about the SPOC program, about the CPOC program. So this is another one of our bedrock standards that we are updating. Point-to-point encryption. So we talk about how do we make it difficult for the criminals to get hold of the data. We're also talking about how can we devalue that data once it's in your systems, so that if the criminals do gain access to it, it's of no use to them. And encryption is what it's all about. Getting that data encrypted means that it's going to be no use to the criminals. We've had the point-to-point encryption program. It runs very well. It works. It removes the card data in a face-to-face merchant, and that's it. You're secure. Use a PTS-approved terminal, use point-to-point encryption, you're in a good place. Talking of point-of-sale terminals, our PTS standard is also being updated. That's on its regular 3-year life cycle review. The RFCs for that are going to go in June and September. This is just a standard update, so we're quite happy with that program and how it's progressing. So that was a very quick run-through of quite a lot that's happening. Do keep your eyes open. Do visit our website. We have so much of this information available on the website. We work with many colleagues here in Russia so that those standards are available in Russian. We're already working on the latest version of the 3.2.1. We'll be going on to version 4 as soon as that starts coming through. So you can get a lot of the standards available in Russian. All the others, yes, they are in English. So thank you very much.